Yo, what's going on, guys? J.Yumeko here, and today we're back with the letter. So before we jump into this video, I just wanted to let you guys know that on Tuesday I posted a Kato Shoujo video, so that'd be awesome if you guys could go check it out. But yeah, I'm going to be trying to getting videos out on a more normal schedule. So to make up for all the time that I missed while I was sick, I'm going to be trying to get a video out every day until at least maybe Monday or so. But yeah, without further ado, let's jump right on back into it. Up! Hi, come on now! I have no idea. Oh, it happens every time, man. Alright, let's see. Let's check our timeline here. Penthouse. Yes, we remembered him. And it doesn't look like we have anything really all that new. Yeah, nothing new there either. Alright. The place is bustling with movers, carrying furnishings here and there, along with several trunks of personal belongings taken from our penthouse. Oh yeah, I forget. Luke watches them like a hawk, making sure nothing is handled carelessly or gets stolen. Careful now! I know your pictures are framed by cheap plastic, but those are framed by African blackwood, and are one-of-a-kind commissioned paintings. Each one is essentially worth a lifetime of what you make. Luke, do the dishwashers go into the kitchen or the butler's pantry? Pantry, Buttercup. Careful, that is my heart. No, you put that down. You do not manhandle a Napoleon Aboivar. I can see the exasperation, and I have to send the foreman an apologetic glance. Even Johannes rolls his eyes as he goes by. Considering Luke is always like this during the project, Johannes and I have gotten used to it. Poor Marianne, on the other hand, looks a bit stressed at seeing the gigantic mess before quickly going back to work. Everything just has to be perfect, exactly the way he wants it. One little thing out of place, one little thing that didn't fit the image he clearly constructed in his head, and Luke gets bent out of shape. Sweetie, why don't we go and sort your suits upstairs? Let Johannes, Marianne, and the foreman deal with the rest of the work. We have this, Mr. Wright. Yes, please do before a blood vessel bursts. Bloodstains are so troublesome to clean. Taking him by the hand, I lead him upstairs into our bedroom. This place has been arranged for us so that we can get some rest, no matter what state the rest of the mansion is in. I'm definitely glad I can just lie down on a soft, comfy bed after what has been a busy morning. Watching Luke act like his life depended on getting this move done is tiring all on its own. And to think I have a whole day of this ahead of me. I feel the bed dip beside me as Luke sits down with a sigh. Well, I can't wait for this to be over. I don't know. It's fun seeing you all fired up, here at home and not at work, you know. You know I can't always be home, Anna. I have a company to run, unless you've forgotten. I haven't forgotten. You're the one that insists on being there to make sure each and every little thing is under control. I just really miss you sometimes, and I wish you were at home more often. Why, if you're not careful, I might go a bit loopy and I'll start bringing cats home. And soon enough, one day, you'll find yourself going home to a farm just filled with felines that follow you everywhere. Oh, don't bluff. The things would shred up your precious furniture. Besides, you don't even like cats. True. Dogs are infinitely superior, of course. Hannah's my kind of woman. What about the wet dog smell? The mess! I'm not cleaning up after her much, no matter how cute. If you think about it, a cat would be better. We laugh. It's not always that we can just lie down and talk about these sorts of things. To joke around as if we're teenagers again, with every little problem in the way of responsibilities and roles. To hear his genuine, honest-to-goodness laughter is a rarity. This is just the second time as of late, and I can only see it as signs of good things to come. All good points. I guess we could just have kids. That is, if you prefer dealing with soiled nappies and sick as Okay. That is, if you prefer dealing with soiled nappies and sick as opposed to dead birds, mice, and litter boxes. I've already told Marianne about turning the second bedroom into a children's room. I guess, sometimes, I don't know when I'm crossing a line. I didn't say that I'm a good comedian, did I? Not this again. What? I wasn't being serious. It's not something you take the piss out of. Having a kid is a big responsibility, Hannah. We've talked about this, haven't we? I'm not ready to be a parent. I'd probably end up killing the little brat by the week's end. What should I say? Well, as per usual, we're going to go ahead and save there. You'll be a great father, or apologize for bringing it up. Well, of course we're going to be a loving wife here. We gotta reassure him, right? Kylie likes you well enough. The moment of our little goddaughter places a conflicted look on his face. Let's see. Nice, it went up. Sometimes it is cute when he denies having a soft spot for the little girl. But then sometimes it's sad, and it makes me wonder what happened to him to make him think so poorly of himself in this regard. Yes, well, it's Kylie. The tyke likes everybody, and, on the off chance that she doesn't, likes him well enough as long as they buy her sweets. And sure, that kid is great, but if I get tired of her, I can ship her back to her father at the end of the day. Having kids of our own will be a whole different monster entirely. I've never heard him talk about his father in anything but a business context. I recall Damien Wright, excuse me, kept hearing about him from my own father, even before I met Luke. The business world praised him for running a tight ship, all until one mistake led to a great loss for the enterprise. Jesus. First it's coughing, now it's sneezing. It was then that news of Luke Wright, prodigy's son and successor to the old man, started to show up, and he aided in its recovery and growth until the Great Recession. I'm getting a bit off track. Regardless, I've never heard him talk about his father like one would talk about family. I think he'll be a great father. There is a smile, no matter how half-hearted it may be. I do really think that. He might not be a good, honest man. A part of me knows that, though I try to silence it. But I know Luke well enough that he will be a better father than either Damien Wright or Henry Evans. I love my father, but he never had the time. If it is any consolation, I think he'd be a decent mother. On the other hand, I've never heard of his mother. A silence settles, both comfortable and uncomfortable. There is familiarity in each other's company despite the awkwardness that had transpired. Defences and masks down, without anybody else looking. We are both together and alone in this quiet. But the crash from downstairs startles us both out of our reverie. Luke lets out a heavy sigh before coming up to his feet and straightening his jacket. I'll have to attend to that then. Be good, darling, and watch out for your blood pressure. He gives me a kiss on the cheek before leaving, while I lay there in a daze. Alone, as per usual. I really should be used to it by now. I can feel the minutes tick by with me just lying there, feeling miserable and full of self-pity. I have rolled over to lie on my stomach at this point, with my face buried into the pillows, when there's a knock at the door. Grumbling at them to go away doesn't work, as a voice comes from the other side. Madam, the photographer from Luxury Living is here. Wait, is that today? Oh, yes. People had caught wind of our new mansion the very moment we left the open house. Luke had boasted he could acquire the property in no time, and allowed a photo shoot for an interior design magazine to be scheduled today. Well, there were complications, and it took longer than it usually does for us. In a minute, Hansi. Johannes, if you could at least make it through to the end. Tell them I'll be right down, Hansi. Right, let's check out our new general. Oh, hey. The Wright couple moved to their newly bought mansion today and was already preparing for a housewarming party. During a short break, the couple had a brief discussion about children. Luke didn't sound too welcoming of the idea. Oh, cute little babies. Little bit of babies. The mansion grounds has been one of the first things to be fixed up, aside from the bedroom. Although it's still a work in progress, it had a promising start, and I can already see the flower patches. Luke's favoured daffodils stand out easily, having been transplanted from the pots that used to litter the rooftop of our penthouse. Why, if the moving crew thought that Luke was being hard on them, they clearly didn't see the landscape on his way out. The man looked like he was ready to faint, and Luke seemed ready to kill him by the end of their discussion. It is in the gardens that I see him standing near the flowers in quiet admiration. He's hard to miss, the hulk of a man that clearly did not belong. The big backpack and suitcase he has with him makes him look much larger. It is a peculiar sight, seeing someone who looks like he does handling little delicate things with such care. He looks up from the gardens and does a double take before a friendly face replaces his serene expression. Miss Wright, yeah? Hi, Zachary Steele here, for Luxury Living, ma'am. Hope you weren't waiting too long. But it looks like you're still moving, huh? Thought for a second there that my calendar was wrong and I came too early. The one and only. Welcome. Whoa, what kind of face did she just make? Hold up. She was blushing hardcore right there. Welcome to Maison Direct. Ah, yes, we've been in the process of moving in as we were delayed, but it won't be a problem. They're just adding a few things here and there, but you should still be able to do your work. Where's the rest of your crew then, Mr. Steele? Zach is fine, please. Mr. Steele makes me feel like I'm a mascot for a cleaning product. Anyway, I'll be your one-man crew for today. Don't worry, been doing this gig for a while now. You must be quite the veteran to handle this on your own. We've had a cool crew coming into our penthouse the last time we were covered in your magazine. Veteran? Your words are too kind, Miss Wright. Hannah. If I get to call you Zach, you have my permission to call me Hannah. Alrighty then. Anyway, I'm no veteran, but I know my camera well enough to make sure this is a good shoot. You can trust me on that, Mr. Hannah. Zachary proves quick enough that I can in fact trust him. His skills with the camera and experience in this industry at the very least. He's kind and courteous, listening and following as I lead him around the house. A really nice fellow, and he treats our household staff well, whenever we cross paths with them. I answer his questions to the best of my ability, and he's patient enough to answer mine whenever I get curious enough. For one, I ask what the bags are for. They're quite the magician's toolkit. From inside, he had procured several items to embellish the interior with. Bowls of fruits, lemons, trays with peppermills, stacks of cookbooks, cutting boards and glass canisters filled with colourful nuts and grains are brought in for a kitchen setting. For the bathroom, there are white towels, seashells and decorative soaps. There are other things as well, too numerous to count, all in that large backpack and suitcase. Tricks of the trade. Softens up a room, makes a place feel more homey and fills it up with texture. But you guys probably have better stuff I can use for this. No lights? Don't tell me they're all just props. Well, I got my tripod here. For things like these, natural light is best. I'll just have to set the shutter speed to a real slow setting, and as long as nobody steps into the shot, it'll look great. Oh, it better. We go through the rooms one at a time, although we first tackled the ones that the movers have no business in anymore. Sheesh! The ballroom needs a little preparation, with its grand design. Although there is some trouble at first, with the wide open space and the pictures being backlit. It is in the kitchen that Zachary's props come in handy, considering how Johannes kept the place so neat and sterile, one can practically eat off the floor. We carry on, touring the house and taking pictures where we can, with the exception of the rooms that have yet to gain any purpose or design. Too bad I can't take a sneak peek at his photos yet. Funnily enough, he's using a traditional camera. I didn't even know film still existed. With the way he speaks, however, I can see that he knows enough about his craft that I'm not too worried about botched photographs. I imagine photography must be cathartic for him, judging by how at ease he looks while taking pictures. There are small snippets of conversation in between the clicking of the camera. He even goes as far as to talk about these terminologies like shutter speeds and aperture when I ask about the technical aspects. I can't quite see the picture as it is made, but like when I watch artists paint on their canvas. Much like. But just watching someone passionately practicing their craft such as this is exciting in its own way. Oops. Going through the many rooms has been quite the exercise for both of us. Sheesh. Despite that, he's been so nice, and I find myself putting on my best smile. But it is as we're taking pictures in the foyer that everything comes to a standstill for a moment. Just a moment. And had I not been paying attention, I wouldn't have even noticed. It is merely a split second when Zachary's rhythm is put to a halt. His fingers don't move to release the shutter. Yet he also doesn't pull the camera away from his face, gaze still firmly fixed through the viewfinder. His hands shake and there is a light sheen of sweat on his forehead. Zachary? No response. Zach, is something the matter? Lowering his camera, he blinks and stares at something behind me before shaking his head. Turning around, though, I see nothing that could have gotten his attention. Oh, no. There's nothing wrong. I just remembered something, that's all. Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit to the left? Yeah? I struggle to respond this time. There's a sudden weight on my back and an indescribable tightness around my throat. Everything stops, and everything starts again as I manage to choke it out. If you're sure... I don't know what just happened. It was probably just a dizzy spell. I'm fine. And he said he's fine. We continue at the same pace as before, although there's an unspoken agreement that we will not talk about what just happened. So, is this a full-time job for you then? Nah, I just freelance mostly, for magazines, newspapers, and events, so you can't really call it a full-time job. It's fun and it puts food on the table, but it's not what I really want to do. At least not all the time. What is it that you want to do then? Maybe I've been out of line, sticking my nose into some other people's business, but I can't help but ask. I regret doing so, as I see his shoulders slump, and the easygoing air he has fades away. He looks torn over whether he wants to talk about it or not. Films. Documentaries mostly. But cinematography is a lot more different than photography, right? I was working on this thing, actually. What thing? Well, it wasn't really a big thing. People didn't like blue fonts very much. People didn't like a film about colours. I suppose they would have liked Blue Bebe a lot more. Very funny. So, Grand Director, do you want to tell me what blue fonts is all about? He hesitates, but when I refuse to budge on the matter, he gives in and spills it all out. Bleu fonts, lueur la plus sombre de noir britanniques. I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that right. Jesus, okay. Dark blue, the darkest hour of the Black British. He speaks with passion of one who has gone through the very matter he's concerned with. There is conviction, knowledge, and experience in his speech. Why, I would have told him that he's an amazing speaker, if only I wasn't so engrossed listening. Prejudice and discrimination, in schools and in the workplace. Lesser chances for opportunity and higher chances of being treated like a criminal. He spoke of blacks and people of colour in general still being treated like second-class citizens, all because of the colour of their skin. It is all just positively riveting. And sad. It comes to a point wherein he soon loses his steam. He looks abashed, realizing what he had just done. Sorry, I got so carried away and... It's fine. It is really so fascinating to watch people talk about their passion after all. You should see how your eyes light up when you speak so fiercely. You do have very beautiful eyes. Look at that, bro! Look at that! Now, I'm not gonna say anything, but I mean... Maybe Hannah is British, so it makes sense that she would want to see some of that BBC. Right? Thanks, I guess? I want to say that I understand where he's coming from, but I really don't, do I? I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and I've lived a charmed life. It hasn't been perfect, but the difficulties I've been through pales in comparison to what others experience on a daily basis. I certainly don't know how I would have fared were it any different. Would I still have met Luke, and would he still have loved me if I was any lesser? What was your home like? These things you talk about, it sounds like you're... Well, I don't mean to pry, I mean. Lived with my older sister and my grandparents. We had a shop selling all sorts of things. Below our flat. And, well, I was one of the few non-white, non-British students in class. I didn't get pushed around or anything straight up. Even then, I was one of the biggest kids around. But a pencil or notebook would go missing, you know? Oh, That I knew. Children can be so cruel at times. Of course, it may be a slightly different story when you have personal guards and the stolen item is not a pencil, but an expensive heirloom. Oh man, I feel bad for the poor bastard that decided to steal that. So, what about you? How are you liking your new house? It's pretty impressive. It's nice, I suppose. You suppose? Not big enough? What? No. Oh, don't be a bully. It's just that... I understand if you don't want to talk about it. I was a little girl, all dolled up and treated like fragile porcelain, with nursemaids waiting to me hand and foot. All the material possessions anyone could ever want. I could ask for a whim, and it would be handed to me just like that. But I barely saw my parents. Just goodbye kisses in the morning before they went off to who knows where they were needed next. I saw them more often on the telly or in the newspapers than I ever did in person. I remember my old house. It was a lot like this one. Big walls and big halls, but nobody in it. Not really. It makes you think how alone you are. A pensive mood overcomes us. And there's a moment when neither of us are sure of how to go on from here. Things have gotten a bit too personal, yet it isn't wholly uncomfortable, like it's as if we've been friends before. Well, that's normal, ain't it? You just moved here. You'll make a home out of it yet. He certainly makes it easy to believe that. My childhood house is indeed a lot like this one, just as large and extravagant, and just as empty. I hope he's right. So, Monsieur le Photographe. I don't know if it's graphe or just photograph. Excuse me. You've covered the one and only Ermengarde Mansion. What's next on the agenda? The interview? Boring. It's an interior design and housing magazine. And they want to know what Miss Wright has to say about her interior design and house. Hannah Wright thinks that she bought a magnificent house that she can certainly brag about. Blah blah boring. You know what they should print more of? I watched an interesting documentary the other day about France, the darkest hours of the Black British. I recommend you watch it. Those are the things that people should know about. What do they care if I use a purple or green bowl of fruit in my kitchen? People, right? We, people are shite. What do you think? Do I look good with this angle? I strike a pose while he's being busy, looking taken aback for a moment, probably not expecting me to just go and say such a crass word. But he recovers quickly, and, after snapping a few shots, he grins. Yeah, moi et is belle. You want copies of these ones? Yes, please. So, the big boy knows French. Bro, what is this flirting? You must have wooed a few ladies, unless you're into gents. Either way, French is, after all, the language of romance. Oh, I don't know about quoting fancy poetry. But I've made lunch for a girl before, and they did like that fancy French cuisine. Can you cook bouillabaisse? I think bouillabaisse? Bouillabaisse? I can cook just about anything as long as I know the recipe. Says the magnifique. It has been too long since I've had a nice and proper chat with a good friend. No, Lee is certainly not a good friend. And although we've just met, Zachary is the sort of person who can probably befriend anyone. He's just a comfortable person to be around with. A bit too comfortable. The photo shoot went by a breeze, and somewhere along the way, as we talk and laugh, I find myself getting a bit too close without realizing. He'll give me this strange look until I back off, and he'll go back to asking questions after I agree to do his little interview. And it's just odd. Well, no. Me being friendly isn't that odd. That is how I am. Zachary is the one that's being odd. Why, anyone else would absolutely welcome the extra attention I give them. He, on the other hand, looks almost flustered about it. He should be used to different personalities by now, having to deal with various people when he works, and if not, he needs to start. Perhaps nobody has shown him attention of this kind, but he's a big boy. He should be able to handle me. All it is a friendly touch here, and a pretty smile there, a gentle swaying of the hips as I move around. Zachary grew more and more red every time he noticed. Am I being mean as I find enjoyment in seeing him unravel? Perhaps. This went on during the interview and beyond that. There's nothing wrong with what we're doing, right? Zachary and I are just having a playful, friendly chat while enjoying the outside view. At least, that's how I see it. I'm sorry, but I'm really getting distracted. Could you maybe stop doing that? Stop? I'm not sure if I want to, though. Oh, shit! Okay. Whoa! Oh, God. Okay, this is a huge decision. So we can either choose to continue teasing him, aka more than likely end up, like, practically cheating on our husband, or we can stop and probably save our marriage. I mean, like, I don't blame her, though. Just seeing how, like, kind of harsh Luke is to her, and how rare it is for them to even have any kind of, like, real personal talks without devolving it into a fight. I don't blame her when, oh, hey, this big, burly, kind, caring, attentive man comes along and, you know, okay, you know, like she said, she starts flirting with him a bit. I can totally understand that. But it's like the morality of it. Do we cheat on our husband? Oh, man. Or do we try and talk to him and solve it, you know, whatever the problem is? Oh, Jesus, this is... I feel like if we continue doing it, that'll probably... Oh, man, I just... Like, I really want to... You know what? Oh, man. I mean, like, normally I would play it safe here and stop. But I really am genuinely interested into how our relationship with Zach, and more specifically Luke, will take a turn if I continue. So that's what I think I'm going to do. I have it saved, though, just in case things go so awry that I need to go back and change our options. This is who I am, and I'm not going to tone myself down for somebody else. I have no obligation to do so. At any rate, he is rather cute, and it is a bit fun seeing him squirm. What's the worst that can happen? I doubt it would be anything bad, considering how much of a gentleman he is. Stop doing what, Zach, sweetie? Touching my arm and looking at me like that. I pause, giving him a baffled look. This is certainly the first time a man has ever complained about me being too friendly. I'm not doing anything wrong. Come on now, don't be like that. It's just a bit of fun. A bit of harmless fun. I'm sorry. It's just really uncomfortable and I don't think either of us want Mr. Wright to see us and think there's any funny business. I'm sorry. Look, can we just... We're finished with the interview already, ain't we? Maybe it's about time I go. Oh, you must be joking. No, I'm not. You're certainly the odd one. Don't be such a killjoy. A little bit of flirting never hurts anybody. Other men would simply be delighted by my interest in them. Besides, you are really such a cutie. Well, I'm not them, Hannah. So yeah, I'm probably odd. I don't understand you. Let me put it this way. You're a pretty lady, so this must have happened to you at least once or twice. How would you feel if someone was making you uncomfortable? Only for them to refuse when you ask them to stop, and they make you out to be the one that's wrong. This isn't the same as that. As I try to argue his point, he starts to pack the rest of his bags. This is preposterous. My main argument is what sort of man complains about a beautiful woman being friendly with them? It seems logical in my head, but the moment I try to say it, it starts falling apart. Yes, it is. Unwanted advances don't make me feel macho or anything like that. I'm not here to argue morals or ethics, Miss Wright. I think I have more than enough for the interviews. That's fine with you. I may be starting to overstay my welcome. I feel deflated. And things were going so smoothly, too. I ended up pushing too hard, just when I might have found myself a good friend. Oh, his went down a lot. Okay, we're going back. We're going back, baby. Rewind time! That's pretty much what I figured would happen. Alright, well, Zach is... Okay, buddy. I'll stop if it makes you feel uncomfortable, sweetie. Sorry. No, I should be the one apologizing. Why, you're a shy one, aren't you, big guy? It's not that, but... He gestures to the ring on my finger, and that's the fact of the matter hang heavily between us. Being told implicitly that I am too forward is not a common occurrence. I think I'm more stunned at the fact that he pointed it out, rather than, well, being rejected. Not that anything is going to happen between us in the first place. It was just going to be some harmless flirting. Right? So, you've never had a girlfriend? No. No boyfriend either, you know. Just in case you were going to ask for that one next. And you haven't even had your first kiss? Not a one, ma'am. Do you want to have your first kiss today? I can't help it. I really, really can't. And I am going to apologize lots later. Surely by the catty smile on my face, it's obvious that I'm just pulling his leg. The laugh I failed to contain certainly gives it away, if it still isn't obvious. But still, he lights up in embarrassment, stammering and sputtering objections. You're married, and this could be extremely unprofessional. I never said I would kiss you, silly. Oh, Johannes! No, wait, no. Don't call your butler Sheesh, Hannah. That would be for the better. Oops. I don't think his husband would appreciate it if I made him kiss another man. I do not think he can hear from us either. But it is hard to think you're not taken, Zachary. Why, whoever becomes your girlfriend will be so lucky to have you. You can cook and take wonderful photographs. Wonderful meals and wonderful memories. I can play the guitar, too. You can? Oh my, wonderful serenades as well, then. Perhaps I can find a young lady who deserves a fine, strapping young gentleman like yourself. Let's not get carried away. Besides, I gotta be going. It's getting late and I got someplace to be. A shame. I'll be expecting you again soon, I hope, for a copy of my photographs, yes? Of course. I'll even deliver them personally. Just, don't try to make me kiss your butler when I stop by. As fate would have it, the very moment the words leave his mouth, Johannes comes out of the house. Judging by the slight raise of his eyebrows, he has heard only the tail end of the conversation. There shall be no kissing of any butlers under this roof, Dunker. But you are not under the roof, are you, Hansi? To my amusement, he takes a step back, safely placing him within the threshold of the foyer and under the roof of the house. And, just as ever, he is quick to return with a sardonic reply. I am now. As I was saying, madame, it's about time for supper. Would I be needing to set an extra place at the table? Oh, what? No, I was just leaving, actually. So, you have a good night, Hannah. And you too, Hansi. It was nice to meet you, Zach, honey. Have a safe trip. He nods, and the grin on his face as we say our goodbyes is the sweetest that I have ever seen. I linger, looking out for him with his relatively tiny bicycle, backpack safely secured in the basket by the front and suitcase hooked onto the back. I watch as he went down the path back to Anselm village until he's nothing more than a blip in the horizon. I cannot help the small smile on my face as I go inside for supper. Alright, I will stop it there. So it looks like not continuing to flirt with Zach was indeed the right choice. So it looks like we've established a good friendship with him. Although it's very obvious that Hannah's kind of like yearning for somebody who's more like Zach. Somebody who's more emotionally available. Which of course I don't blame her, just seeing how she is with Luke. But at the same time, the little moment she has with Luke definitely makes me feel as though it's less of Luke not loving her or not wanting to give her the time, but it's more of just there's something that happened or some experience he went through that has caused him to feel as though he needs to make that distance, or at the very least that has made him so absorbed in his work that he simply doesn't have the emotional capacity left for her. So, lots of interesting things, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. But anyways, that's going to be it for this time. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like on the video, and let me know in the comment section below what you would like to see me play next. If you enjoyed this series, or any other videos or series on my channel, then I highly recommend that you hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications, so you'll be notified when the next video comes out. Anyways, that's it from me, and I'll see you in the next one.